Hello, beloved. My name is Deacon Seraphim Richard Rohlin, and this is the Great Rood Screen podcast. Today, we're going to continue our read-through of the Saltair Rann, the Saltair of the Quatrains. Hopefully, if you've been following on the series, you already know what this is, but this is a great old Irish epic poem or cycle of epic poems. It's really a work of universal history, which tells the whole story of the scriptures all the way up to the contemporary time of the poet himself from the perspective of the old Irish Orthodox faith. So we're going to continue our read through today. If you want to get more context on the poem, you can go back and look at some of our previous episodes. There should be a playlist or something down below just for these. But we're going to continue with Canto 25 all the way up through Canto 33. And this will take us through the story of Isaac, Jacob, and Joseph. The king gave to Abram thereafter for seed, for lasting begettings, famous throughout the strongholds of the world, a son whose name was Isaac. The king gave to Isaac, it was a triumph, and to the daughter of Bethuel. From them were born in ample festival Esau and Jacob. Esau the hunter, a roving course, was the beloved of Isaac, and Jacob with pure dispositions was the darling of his mother. Isaac toward the end of his age, the waning of deeds of clean valor, though his frame had been right comely, was an elder, blind and without strength. He asked a savory meal of his son without delay, with numbers of preparations of Esau, that a claim might be established, that he might give him his blessing. Rebekah was listening to him, the daughter of Bethuel, no neglectful one, and she made her move full cleanly to the winning of the blessing. While Esau was faring out in the mountain, truly at his hunting, the woman went, in her perfect zeal, to the flock of Jacob's sheep. A tender kid was killed without. She seethed it with a savor of herbs, a swift deed of choice contrivance, and made ready a meal for Isaac. She sewed the skin of the great kid, a stroke of battle, about Jacob's hand in the likeness of the hand of Esau, a bold deed, though it was falsehood. Swiftly his mother dispatched him a perfect festival. Jacob, he arose without faltering a foot and brought the meal to Isaac. When the firm set meal was carried to Isaac to his chamber in the guise of Esau of hosts, a pure semblance, Jacob was full of fear. Here is a choice meal and cunning and whole for thee, O famous son of Abram, from Esau the noble pleasant, with ranks of hosts, from thy delightful son of many gifts. Not long was Esau at the hunting, unless he lies through some gentle guile. Early he is come from the mountain, it is plain, if it is he who brought this meal. It is I who made the keen hunting upon the first slope of the mountain, near at hand, choicest of cries, I found the makings of a meal for my father. Be not contending for the victory, O son of the daughter of Bethuel. Thou art not Esau the sinewy of the hosts, but thou art the smooth-tongued Jacob. Strive not against me, O noble sage, O father, O son of Abram. By thy dear and pleasant love, I am Esau. To thee I speak no falsehood. Give hither thy hand to me against ancient doubting, that I may handle it, that I may know the whole deed clearly, whether thou be Esau or Jacob. Though I shall put my hand in thy hand, I hide it not. I stand in thy dear presence, thou knowest me. It is thou that hast fed me. Strongly was his doubt awakened. My son Esau, a famous triumph, and the son of the sweet daughter of Bethuel, like enough, their being of one bright making, small wonder, though they be alike. Maybe it is Esau, a clear course, and maybe it is not Jacob. Maybe clear is the want of my wisdom. Maybe it is I who am beguiled. An old word that, from great antiquity, with every sage, with every elder, they judge it slowly each in turn. Once a man is blind, he will be mistrustful. A man, wretched, hapless, blind, infirm, bowed down, full slow. Ill is his reliance on clear wisdom after his senses have ebbed away. Eat the meal, noble and whole, O holy one, O splendid son of Abram, eat thy portion after thy pure custom. May it be to thee an excellent feast. Isaac thereupon consumed the meal unto blessing. He lifted up his two hands. He rises, and he dealt out his blessing in pure degrees, an ordered shape from Abram down to Isaac. The blessing exalted above the host was given unto Jacob. Twice 7 years, no folly of sorrow, that was the age of Jacob. Fair the dignity of all he attained when he carried off the birthright. When he had given the pleasant meal to his father, to the son of Abram, for dread of his brother's vengeance, he knew not what he should do. His good mother said to him, Go, flee before thy brother, a fair, well-favored deed, without horror, to the shining household of Laban. Jacob went forth with his victory to the house of Laban, son of Bethuel. Fair and kindly it was, without treachery, in the season of the shearing of the sheep. Thereafter he found them without, beside the gleaming court, a daughter of his, bright her color, blameless, washing her sheep. There the two of them were in excellence, before companies of children at their tending, all bright, without clamor, without horror, the two cherished daughters of Laban. The lad with victory said to them, What place here is the son of Bethuel, my mother's brother, a noble fashion, the man whose name was Laban? And they made him welcome, the lad without neglect. One of the two went a noble course to tell of it to Laban. Laban arises with numbers of valors out to meet his sister's son. He poured a shower of welcome upon him and brings him home to his house. Laban offered a full wage for his herding to Jacob. Every little lamb of black speckled hue, every gray lamb, every piebald lamb, Jacob would set it out in a row in the channels of the water. Little rods speckled their color before the faces of the sheep. The flocks of sheep, each in turn gazing on the bright, clean rods, the colors of the rods, so that they took them, would be upon the lambs. Thereafter Laban gave his two daughters enough without contention, according to his asking upon desire, for the herding of Laban's sheep. Their names, no deed of fault, the learned authors tell them. Leah the lovely, with numbers of pledges, and the queenly Rachel. A handmaid was with each of the two, with the comely sisters. Their names, no idle boasting, Bilhah and gentle Zilpah. They were all together, both the sisters and the handmaids, without horror, after just and lawful union, in the one bed of Jacob. They bore him 4 sons, 3 times over, 12 with strong vigor of pure luster, 8 from the sisters in their row, 4 from the 2 handmaids, the portion of each mother apart, of her rightful children in their due rank, as the king of mysteries ordered every form, better for us their distinguishing. 6 sons with Leah of numbers of pledges, and 2 sons to great Rachel. The king of the strong living world allotted 4 sons to the 2 bondmaids. Reuben, Simeon, ample Levi, noble Issachar, Zebulun, Judah after God without stint, the 6 sons of Leah with the soft wet eyes, Naphtali and Dan the bold, and the 2 victorious sons of Bilhah, Asher and Gad, a shapely pair, the 2 sons of gentle Zilpah. Joseph the splendid, famous from of old, and the fair Benjamin. They took the strongholds of pledges, the 2 lovely sons of Rachel. These are the 12 sons, no wit of horror, of Jacob, grandson of Abram, with their distinctions in every house, with their 4 mothers. 70 years he abode in the north beside Laban the son of Bethuel, till he set out for his own land, a just protection with his 12 sons. When Rachel came out of the north, the daughter of Laban son of Bethuel, she wrought her sly stroke by stealth. She took with her the hand gods of her father. Angry Laban went after them through plain and wood and mountain till he overtook them. No gentle question, south in the midst of the mountain. When splendid Rachel saw him, the shining daughter of Laban, she went apart, a ready stratagem, as if she were in her travail. Rachel the crimson, the fair, put the hand gods of her father down beneath her side. Her cry was heard, her color changed like a woman in childbirth. Laban spared with numbers of pledges the spot whereon Rachel sat. It was not their custom, the way of their rearing, the handling of a woman in childbed. Jacob, with his victory made, great welcome for the sons of Bethuel, and granted him with clear good will the whole searching of the baggage. Since he had found not his hand gods there, and the women's battle had not been a small one, there was raised by them upon the plain a cairn of common oath and common covenant. That is the cairn of the covenant with all men, no requital of war forever between the eager children of ample Laban and the children of Jacob. The angel of God who summons every host was at grappling with Jacob. They fought a combat, a clear union without death, the length of the night. The noble angel struck him, no slight stroke. Jacob passed the rim of his shield, and from that magnified the tale he was named Israel. A messenger went with gifts from him, from Jacob, fair the proceeding, to Esau, whom he turned, it was a clear course, to their being in their brotherhood. Thereafter Esau promised a fair, clean compact, no falsehood, their abiding without harm, unstinted in their friendship, their good neighborhood, without evil, without kinslaying, a clear deed, according to the commands of brotherhood, without guile, without disgrace, without treachery, without strife, without dark dealing. The sons of Jacob, many their fames. They were the brothers of Dinah, Shechem, the son of Hamor. Through treachery they slew with the people of his city. Twice 7 years he abode at home under the rule of law and honor, until it compelled him, though it grieved him, his going into the land of Egypt. The king chose an excellent cry, the noble Jacob above his brother, so that of his children a finished tale are the 12 tribes of the sons of Israel. The promised Son of God from heaven, a pure shining warrant, dear and beloved, he is the flame above the hill of the splendid fathers, the king who gave to Abram, the king who gave to Abram. All right, so I hope you're listening carefully and noticing places where this telling of Genesis maybe differs from the telling of Genesis that you know well and that you have in your head. So I'm going to keep reading, and then at the very end, we'll come back and summarize some of these differences. But try to listen for them yourself and see if you catch any that I miss. This moves us on then to Canto 26, which tells the story of Joseph. Jacob prophesied full purely to his children the number that they were. You shall be all, with keen knowledge, brought to the succor of Joseph. Jacob sent, a branch with vigor, Joseph upon the road to Shechem, faring at the last from home with food for his brothers. When Joseph came to Shechem safe, where the full tidings were, he found there a man a clear course going upon his way. The keen man asked of him, Whence hast thou come? Whither thou goest? What seekest thou? A vast cry, of whom art thou pursuing? I have come from alone among my dwelling with food for the herdsmen. I am weary, for I am spent with every search, seeking the sons of Jacob. The sons of Jacob of the pure renown, if it is they thou art seeking, in the pastures where they have pitched, they are by the slopes of Dothan. Jacob went after that until he reached Dothan to his brothers, and asked in his hand, swift its running, a packload of food upon it. Before him there were gathered in assembly the sons of Jacob, grandsons of Abram. Each one of them said in his turn, Is this the dreamer? O my brothers, look to your honor. Do nothing that were unjust, though some grace should come upon me. It is not over you, it would set me. Alas, thy sense is not good, O Joseph, son of Rachel. Thou hast grown too foolish without fast wisdom. Surely thy dream has deceived thee. What my God has appointed for me among the men of earth, no man of you can, for all his striving, increase it or diminish it. From this it was seen from great antiquity, the vision of Joseph, son of Jacob. His brothers hated him under its burden by reason of their envy. Joseph went with provision to them into the mountain with glory, with pure dignity, while his brothers were weaving his betrayal, that he might come into their hands. His death had been consented among them. Had not the great king's son delivered him? It was not reverence that spared him, heard afar, nor kinship, nor natural love. In that very season, see it, by the commands of the king of holy heaven, to Egypt with glory, with horses, there went a great company of merchants. When they met them upon the plain, Joseph, the youngest, their brother, good was the omen of his going, a just telling that he came to be in the land of Egypt. Yazi, son of Sekis, a clear line, was the chief of the merchants from his own brothers, a notable bargain. It is he that purchased Joseph. Putrifar, a just account. He was the viceroy of Egypt. This is Potiphar. He gave for Joseph, when he was in bondage, 30 half ounces of silver. The age of Joseph when he was sold into the land of Egypt to his sure undoing, with bright wisdom under just form, 17 proven years. Twice 7 years, it was a sure triumph, Joseph abode in the land of Egypt, till there came out of the north thereafter Jacob with his sons. They were under bonds for a while, under the noble dominions of Joseph. For Jacob, it was a just course, was fulfilled, even as he prophesied. Jacob prophesied full purely. So now this brings us on to Joseph in Egypt. The king with holiness above every house sent him before his brothers, without falsehood, without rashness, a just deed, so that he was in bondage in Egypt. Thereafter he was sold, a sure triumph, to a chieftain in the land of Egypt. Every lasting good the man had in this world, he gave him full authority over it. When the wife of his lord loved him, the master's wife who had bought him, and with hidden wanton enticement she summoned him to share her bed, the pure lad said to her, I meddle not in the affairs of women, I that am a slave without freedom, all alone in lands unknown. The soft woman said to him, Put me not from thee so swiftly, the thing that I offer thee here, there is many a man would be glad of it. O woman, a blessing on thy bright face, move me not with thy foolish words, so long as I live, a shining triumph, I will not betray my lord. The woman studied diligently, since the lad would not do her will, how she might bring upon the lad, the pure and sinless, a snare. This is what the foolish woman devised. A time the master was not at home, that the lad should come at some hour with her to the treasures into a house under the earth. Come with me to view my treasures, O lad. It is no lying falsehood. Open before me the lock of the house, O fair Joseph the Canaanite. O man, come before me into the house, lest I be fearful, despoiled, for I go not upon a safe path into a dark house all alone. Joseph went into the house, was not disobedient nor contentious. He knew not that the woman for his betrayal was behind the leaf of the door. When she wholly failed in every form after her strivings of union with Joseph, it was a loathsome deed. She set upon him with violence. He escaped from her out of her hands, stripped bare. The woman shrieked with all the strength of her head. She had parted from tender modesty. There overtook him a wretched turn, under bondage, splendid Joseph, son of Jacob, his casting into prison, a starveling deed under the dominion of the false witness. Eternal high king of the rain-bright world, who is mighty for the victory of every high assembly, a battle fence that upholds without rashness, the king with holiness above every single house. The king with holiness above every house. Hopefully you're noticing some differences. Quite a lot to talk about here, but let's continue on. A story of Joseph in prison with the two prisoners and Pharaoh's dream. A vision was shown, a just account to Pharaoh, to the king of Egypt. There was a not found for him among the sages of the land, among his druids, one who could expound it. There was not found for its right interpreting over the plain of Egypt with its border peoples, wise man, nor druid, nor ready sage, any who could expound it clear and smooth. Pharaoh was wrathful against his people, with a rage right keen, right red, against the dull druids of every house, against their sages, against their wise men. There were, in dear advancement, two foster brothers of the king of Egypt, beyond all men in the dealings of every house, in their ranks, in their councils. At his choosing will, at his hearth, his compacts, his pure confidences, one of the two a man of Egypt the mighty, the other right proper of Africa. They were without blemish, as was heard, in their friendship, in their fosterage. Each was a mother's brother's kin, a clear fashion, either of the two to the other. The king of Africa besought them a whole rumor with the purchase of red gold, that they should take power over every part, if only they would slay Pharaoh. Then they made their attempt upon him, upon Pharaoh, upon their high prince. One of the two men flinched from the deed, for his father was of Egypt. The other man of haughty Africa, with the full battle rod of crime, hurled his body into the fight. He all but slew Pharaoh. They were seized by the king. They were cast down into contempt. They were carried into bonds afar, into the prison to Joseph. A dream was shown to the two of them. That same night straightway, in the durance of the bitter prison, there's a lost line here, troubled was their mind. Joseph gave them with clear discernment a just judgment upon their dreams, as surely as was delivered concerning the treachery, even so was it fulfilled. Tomorrow one of the two men he shall find no favor shall be crucified, the other shall be whole in peace and rank beside the high king. The king remained with clouded countenance under the burden of his dream against the sluggish host. No fault was his, he was wrathful with his good people. The young man told him a clear deed. Be not in anguish for thy dream. There is in the prison without question a man of thy captives who will resolve it. A man who gave judgment upon a vision, upon a course, for us two who lay in bonds, even as his fair sense foretold it, so it came to pass. Then he was brought, with fair honor, Joseph the Splendid, out of the prison before the host of Egypt, a wondrous stroke, till he stood in the presence of Pharaoh. Pharaoh himself asked of him before the host full clearly, Be not downcast, tell thy tale. What people art thou, and what kindred? Joseph declared it with grace, steadily, with patience. A lie is not right before a dread king. From the north am I, from the land of Canaan. It is not this that has brought me honor, that my father was grandson to Abram. The Abram renowned from of old, no feeble stock was he of the Chaldees, and there stands in the prophecy from of old, Mark it, O Pharaoh, of pure sense, the slow, renowned, bright world should be filled with the God whom Abram adored. Now, Pharaoh tells him his dream. There was shown to me a vision, a wondrous sound. The fire of its profitlessness has burned me. One who could unloose it, a just utterance, I found not among all the intellects of Egypt. Declare the splendid dream, said Joseph the comely, the modest. Let us hear from thee, without faltering, the vision, in what manner it was shown. What was shown to me, O Son of Grace, shall deal to thee every lasting good. If thou give a true judgment upon it, there shall be no stint upon thine honor. It shall be a true judgment that I give, O Prince, said he, said Joseph the ever-gracious, a clear deed of great fame in every form, without falsifying, without contriving. 7 fat kine were shown to me, 7 lean kine, a strange report. The 7 lean kine, a clear report, devoured the 7 fat. 7 sheaves of grain, 7 withered sheaves, a crooked meeting. The 7 withered, it was pitiful indeed, devoured the 7 heavy with grain. And I heard the voice that spake to me, hear it, O Pharaoh, and be not deaf. Great is the mystery, a clear onrush that runs through thy dream. Set it upon thy mind without fail. It is plain to every understanding. The world beneath the clouds of fame shall be full of the tidings of this vision. If a man give true judgment upon it, upon the marvelous dream, the wealth of the world shall come to him, and for his reward release from lasting bondage. The man who shall be found to give clear judgment rightly upon the dream, no poverty, no want of mighty vigor, shalt thou share thou with him thy kingship. That the dream, and then this is Joseph's response, that the dream, clean and well favored, be made manifest to thee past question, a comely deed, O lad, without horror, entreat the wondrous God of Abram. Thou shalt have from me the reverence of the host, thou shalt have rank, thou shalt have honor, if it come true for thee in every form, the unloosing of this vision. Let sureties be given me without torment, said he, said Joseph of the noble grace, that as thy famed speech is promised, it shall be fulfilled to the full. Thou shalt have from me the surety of God himself, thou shalt have my dignity full clear, sun and moon together, sea and land, dew and day. Joseph declared to him clearly to Pharaoh his dream, with close set and rapid expoundings, and with its ordered mysteries. The little son of Jacob, with the grace, he was the keen and precious jewel for the bright uprightness of his just deed. He took the vice royalty of Egypt. So by the way, notice now he has Potiphar's job. The precious dream, a just count. Terrible it was to the host of Egypt, like a plague of thunder out of it, the vision that was shown to Pharaoh. A vision was shown, a just account. So now we move on to the story of the 7 years and the famine in Canto 29. The king, who through grace chose him of old, through a vision smooth and full clear, so that Joseph stood with the number of his host over Egypt, noble and high great, 7 full years together, wealthy, whole, prosperous, from when Joseph took the glory of his office until the season of the great famine. Joseph gave his pledge, a deed of sense. Until the end of the 7 years he would not take, though great the dominion, raiment, nor gold, nor silver. Joseph would take no due from the people, save food alone, by fair dealings, a just stewardship of what was owed to the king of Egypt. There was gathered in by him all he received in 7 years, in strongholds firm and mighty, in vast houses of store. Famine reached them harsh and fierce, it smote them with sundering and groaning, it withered them beyond all measure, sorrow filled them and despair. All the peoples of Egypt gave to get everything for food to Joseph, though much they had held in their sway, both gold and silver. They gave their very slaves to the king into bondage for the price of their food, that they should not die the death of famine with their hands naked and empty. Joseph fed beyond every clan the host of the men of Egypt about Pharaoh, under the practice of rule, a splendid course, for the space of 5 full years. He fed them before every host, without grudging, towards fair ruddy Pharaoh 1,600 thousands, a dear measure, and 20 hundreds of thousands, beside those of lawful station, the folk of art, and the chief poets, the swift druids out of every plain, the harpers of the companies, the jugglers, beside the bondsmen, a just measure, an able host at service, and the white women in bands of fame, the splendid sons and daughters, beside the host whom misery filled, the wretched peoples out of every quarter who came, joined together under his sway to traffic in the land of Egypt. The king blessed him above every plain, without blemish, without evil, without want, till he was Lord of every great plain, Joseph, splendid son of Jacob. Lord of the heavens, royal the cry, who perfects every full course, a battle fence above every field, the king who through grace chose him, the king who through grace chose him of old. Now we get into the first journey of the brothers and the accusations, the hostage, all this stuff. So in the second year, a pleasant telling, after the sharp sore famine took hold, the children of Jacob went, a just deed, to buy food in the land of Egypt. They journeyed over rough, wild places through the wondrous lands of Egypt to the track of the host, weary their going, to the people where the high king was. Faintness filled them, weakness seized them, upon their journeyings from their own land, without knowledge of the road, without guidance, without the tongue, in lands unknown. They were troubled along the ways for their deeds, for their reckless crimes, before the host over every plain, wretched, weary, despairing. Spent, their spirit failed within them. It bound them like a yoke of labor with no man to carry. For them it was a hard question, their plea to the viceroy. They went on through the midst of a host, downcast, a pitiable handful, till they took their stand, an excellent truth, in the presence of the high king. He sent a stern messenger from them to meet them keenly, swiftly, for he had known them at once, the just deed, the reverend viceroy of Egypt. Their bodies sank down to the ground. They bent their knees together. They bowed to his dignity, to his protection, before his face in his presence. Joseph asked of them, surely it was heard, with glory, without reproach, speak the hard truth at my command. Whence are ye, and whence have ye come? What seek ye in our mighty land, without a chief, without true knowledge, without the tongue upon a starlit road, like swift folk of Espial? Or are you folk of treachery at hearth and house, who go from city to city without writing in your hands, with your numbers of faces, without credentials of king or great lord? There is no likeness for you here, but base folk of spying, or mountain prowlers who break the rule, or liars at their lying. Famine with horror has driven us from the north, from the borders of Canaan for our utter need, cold our fair country, even as the hosts of the world's men come. The land of Ham has shown us from of old. Our father's stock was out of the Chaldees. He was reared without reproach, without horror. He is the son of Isaac, son of Abram. Brothers we are, all that live. The number of our company and gathering at the herding of our father's flocks, and another son, our youngest, is our brother. If that be true, by splendid utterance, if you be the lasting seed of Abram, give from you a clear hostage against your coming hither again. When ye come back at whatever hour, if your youngest brother come with you, ye shall have your own hostage again, and your full desire shall be done. Before their going forth on their journey to their land with their merchandise into the hands of the viceroy at their parting, they delivered Issachar. Joseph said, a tale without doubt, I shall work your lasting good always. At every hour ye shall have your welcome from me, for the sake of the God of Abram. Then they went into their own land, even as he had ordered, without contempt. They carried with them for their wretched father a gift for God's sake to Jacob. Then they came to their house, free, whole, of good heart. Good fortune with pure glory had found them, and ample lordship in the second year. In the second year, a pleasant telling. The next canto is very short. It's just 3 quatrains, and it's Jacob giving thanks to God for the food that they brought back from Egypt. Jacob the Splendid gave thanks to his Lord. It was a perfect deed, for how his children had found pure, just truth, welcome with the viceroy of Egypt, for how he had led them by quiet dealings into the vast lands of their unknowing, had fostered them without hurt over every plain, had set them on an excellent road, for how he had brought them back, no narrow grace, from every rampart with their great profit. In their coming home, thankful to their house, to his own Lord, he gave thanks. Jacob the Splendid gave thanks. All right, now we get on to the story of the cup in Canto 32, the cup and the recognition of Joseph by his brothers. They took just counsel, the wondrous sons of Jacob. They're going upon a journey circuit once again into the land of Egypt. They went by roads in safety, a full company without misadventure. Strongly they crossed over every land until they came to the high king. They found amply without delay great welcome with the viceroy, as was pleasing to a just mind. They had their trading straightway. Joseph took a perfect cup. He puts it on the hand of the man of his host, bestow it by cunning for their betraying in the sacks of the Canaanites. Not slothful, they set out for their land. They were not thankless towards the viceroy, since every journey had been joined for them. Their blessing rested on Joseph. When their lines were out upon the plain, about a mile from the city, there broke after them, no shame their meeting, a fierce troop to arrest them. They were given no guard against pursuit. They were bound straightway. They were brought roughly off the plain back again to the city. They were brought with all they possessed as fettered captives, wretched their state without strength, till they stood before the viceroy. The viceroy gave them answer. He said to them straightway, "Wretched the lot of your bright company, taken all of you at thievery, since with you no dear design is the theft beyond contention. I pronounce upon your famous band your crucifixion, together with the one man. O viceroy of Egypt, beyond question thou hast been right just towards our full good. It is no glory to thy victory and thy fame, the crucifixion of wretches without crime. We know not whatever wrong under the sun, hard and stern for Benjamin, what dead man's drunken frenzy laid upon us the dealings of that cup. We testify by every treasure a just protection before thy face, O viceroy of Egypt, our innocence before the witness of God of the crime of this cup. Give, for the sake of your souls, a wondrous hostage from you, your own youngest brother, whose name is Benjamin. Go your way swiftly upon your roads, and leave ye Benjamin, since it is with him a question made plain that cup of Egypt was found. The youngest of the children, a dear deed, a man free of any taking and truth. He is the dearest of all our hosts to our father, to Jacob. We beseech thee, if it be not hateful to thee, for this, O viceroy of Egypt, though we ourselves abide at thy will, that thou set Benjamin free. If ever a man under the gray heaven died of grief, it is a fierce saying, Jacob himself will die of mourning for Benjamin. O young sons of splendid Jacob, sharp answer to the children of Abram, without famed help, without any glory, ye have fallen into your crime. They laid bare their tale. Without strength, they prostrated before the viceroy. We testify by God, boldly thereof, that we are clean of this crime. Make your confession without weakness, a word of truth before the last death. Reveal it upon a mighty wound. Ye have done a deed most cruel. Though God's vengeance were swift and fierce upon us, as it were fitting for our crooked course, just, though he wither us to the ground for the guilt of our transgression, we have drowned in grief. It was a wretched deed. We have tormented Jacob. We betrayed a dear one of our company. We sold our one brother. Great are our crimes to our betraying. We are not innocent to be set free. Let us go to meet our death, a keen tale. Let us go under the sharp-edged sword. It were not right for me to destroy you. Long have you stood in great peril. The help of God shall come to your aid, O wondrous race of Jacob. It shall be a deed of triumph upon our meeting, O perfect descendants of Abram. No deed of vengeance by the dearness of the word is what it is I whom ye sold. They bowed themselves beneath his hand. They gave thanks for his meeting. They wove their keening fitly. They wept for their great joy. Set out firmly, be not feeble. Go ye to meet Jacob without sorrow. Broad is your right, strong your surety in Egypt. The king brought out of the north thereafter Jacob with his sons, when they went southward on their journey upon the name of Joseph into Egypt. From the time they came south to Joseph into neighborhood, whatever was best in every holding Joseph gave to his brothers. Jacob abode, it was a just deed, without sorrow in the lands of Egypt, together with his children in their strength, 2 years upon 70. The Great One, with chosen love of old, who brought Abram out of the Chaldees, it is he that granted, after just right, to them that thing which they wrought. They took a just counsel. And then we'll close up here with Canto 33, which tells of the death of Joseph and what happens to the children of Israel afterwards as their bondage begins. From that hour Joseph the Splendid died. They had neither freedom nor noble favor. The men of Egypt with matching wickedness brought them under heavy bondage. They enslaved them to their will after the death of wondrous Joseph. Bondage like it, a clear account, never lay upon the grateful world. Many a child, wretched was the tale, was taken from the host of Israel, whose right eyes, a dear company, they would strike out of their head. Many an evil of every kind, no just claim that they endured under the host of Jacob. No bondage could be more bitter, the slaying of their firstborn. Though heavy the bondage that bound them, their God was at their helping. And the more the hosts bore down upon them, the more they increased at every single hour. Joseph, the son of Jacob, the splendid son of Isaac, son of Abram, spent under the rules of law 60 years in Jacob. He went to his rest, a passing without sin, on the track of the elders, the noble dear sages. He leaves 2 sons, good their bearing, Manasseh and Ephraim, and all gave heed to his very rule. The men of Egypt served him for his victory, his goodness, his dignity, until the hour that Joseph died. From the very hour that Joseph the Splendid died. So there's a lot of themes here that are quite interesting to talk about. The first thing we could simply mention is the way that Joseph is really, obviously Joseph is a type of Christ in the Old Testament. This is not an uncommon reading for Christians, but the poet has really reworked a lot of the material so that the typology shines out even more, right? So Joseph is sold by his brothers for 30 half ounces of silver, which is the price in Matthew 26, not in Genesis 37. He's falsely accused and bound, though innocent. He stands in prison between two condemned men, one of whom is crucified and the other of whom is raised to the king's right hand, right? So the two thieves, right? The brothers are themselves threatened with crucifixion, and then the recognition is a one-line absolution from the betrayed one, is I whom ye sold, right? This should make us think of the prophecy that the children of Israel will look upon him whom they have pierced, right? Joseph says, what my God has appointed for me, none of you can increase or diminish. So Joseph's creed here spoken to his brothers before the betrayal, right? This is providence being stated in advance and then demonstrated over the rest of the cantos, right? That God granted them the thing which they wrought. So even the crime serves the purpose of God. There's a lot of other interesting things to talk about here. We have the fourfold maybe of blind Isaac. In Old Irish, this is ves. Maybe it is Esau. Maybe it is not Jacob. Maybe clear is the want of my wisdom. Maybe it is I who am beguiled, right? It's a very, it hits hard in the Old Irish. Now, the household gods, Rachel's teraphim, they are in Old Irish, they are lambda, hand gods. These are little gods that you can carry, gods you can sit on, right? So there's some, there's a joke sort of being made here about the folly of idolatry, that the idols of the nations, are hidden under a woman. In this case, she's not saying she's, the time of women is upon her, but she's feigning labor. She's feigning to go into labor, which is interesting. It sort of indicates she's pregnant here. Well, who would she have been pregnant with? Well, it'd have been Joseph, right? But she's feigning to go into labor to hide these, and then Laban's search halts before a point of Irish custom law. It is not their custom the handling of a woman in childbed. So a woman who is in childbirth is not someone that most people are allowed to touch under Old Irish law. And of course, we see lots of the Genesis story through an Old Irish mirror here. We have the foster brothers, the Comaltai at Pharaoh's court. We have a hostage, a gyal demanded by the brothers. We have the witness a heap of Mizpah between Jacob and Laban becomes the boundary cairn of covenant, right? We have Jacob wrestling with an angel, except they're not wrestling now. They're fighting with spear and shield. We have Egypt's wise men recast as druids. We have Joseph's Egypt feeding the chief poets and harpers and jugglers. These are the important kinds of people in an Irish court. Pharaoh is not Pharaoh. He's the high king. All of this is kind of basically recasting the whole story as though it had happened in ancient Ireland. It's delightful to me. Even the assassin's plot plays out like a Irish dynastic struggle where you have the butler and the baker rewritten as two royal foster brothers who are bought off with gold by a rival king to murder Pharaoh, and one flinches because of his father's blood, and the other strikes, and Pharaoh is almost killed. And as far as we know, a lot of these details are just invented by the poet. He may be getting these from an older apocryphal tradition, but he's certainly recasting them in Old Irish dynastic struggle terms. Also, you might notice that the whole temptation of Joseph has been totally restaged in the souterrain, the dark treasure house under the earth that they'd have had in Irish, in Irish great houses, right? So the woman is like hiding behind the door leaf, and the failed seduction turns into attempted murder. And Joseph escapes stripped bare, and it's just a little more detail about some of those things. Pharaoh swears an oath by creation, the surety of God himself, sun and moon together, sea and land, dew and day, right? This is exactly the way that the pre-Christian Irish would have sworn. The audience would have known that this oath. Their grandfathers would have sworn an oath like this. And then, of course, we have Issachar, a hostage. And I'm not sure why this is. I think it's Simeon in Genesis this left in 42, but here it's Issachar left in Egypt. And I don't know what the signification of the change here is, or if this is just an error. But in any case, the idea of leaving a hostage behind would have been very familiar to the people of ancient Ireland. And so you'll notice that, Jacob doesn't seem super perturbed by it. It's only the prospect of Benjamin being left as a hostage that finally sort of, is too much. And of course, the biggest difference, which is very simply, the coat of many colors never appears. Jacob's most important attribute is the fact that he is a man who dreams dreams. He is a visionary. He is a mystic. And there's this prophecy of his father that he will rule over his brothers. So the coat of many colors is not actually a part of the story. It's just left out entirely. And it seems like this is just telling us what would have been the most important about the figure of Joseph to the Old Irish. To the Irish, as to the Egyptians, somebody who can dream and interpret dreams, somebody who is a seer or has the second sight in this way. So I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I am. In some ways, I feel like I'm just sitting here telling you Bible stories. And if that seems odd in a podcast about the old Celtic church, then actually it means that you've disconnected these things in your mind in a way that they themselves, the old monks who wrote this story down and the people who maintain these manuscripts and pass on these stories orally before they were written down and everything else, you are creating a division in the world which they would not have wanted. The whole point of something like this is to say that our world and Jacob's world and Joseph's world, that they're the same world, they're part of the same story. These are the stories of our ancestors, of our fathers, and so we're going to tell them in our own dialect. Through their prayers, Lord Jesus Christ, our God, have mercy on us and save us. Amen.
You have been listening to The Great Rood Screen, the story of men and women who sought the kingdom of heaven in the mists of the British Isles. I'm Deacon Seraphim Richard Rohlin, and this has been a listener-supported presentation of Ancient Faith Radio.